Hi Sassy Stampers, thanks for joining me. We are going to look at putting together the November card. This was designed by April Bayne and I think it's absolutely beautiful. Your kit will come with a 12 by 12 piece of scrapbook paper and either a white or a cream piece of cardstock. So all of the cutting for this card you're going to do yourself. The cute thing about this card is it has two little pockets. These are perfect for a gift card. You could put a gift card on this shorter one, which is almost perfectly sized for it, and then put your message on this one. So the way that this card is put together, it doesn't open. You put this on the back so that you can have your greeting or write what you want on the back of it. Now, I'll show you some options where you could make this an opening card. But the important thing to remember is if you change the way this is folded, you're going to have a double-sided piece of scrapbook paper. And if you change the way it is folded, you're going to change the way the patterns appear on here. Everyone's kit will be a little bit different. Everyone is not going to have this exact same paper. April actually chose lots and lots of different double-sided Christmassy papers. Everyone will have this cutout and 5 cute little sequins. Some of this cute baker's twine that has the gold in it, and this gold cutout, and she also heat embossed this warm wishes for everyone. So everyone is going to have that. That will be similar, but the papers will all be different. Now, April made you guys a cheat sheet that kind of has directions on it here. And what I did, I just put this into a program where I could make it where it wasn't drawn, it's just printed. So you're gonna have this PDF, and I put this great big 1, 2, 3, 4. So when we're talking about quadrants, you can use this template, or you can follow the directions on the regular direction, or just follow along with me, and you'll be able to make this card very easily. You will definitely want to have a trimmer of some sort, and if you have this type of trimmer, which I honestly don't know what this kind of trimmer is called. Some people call it a string trimmer, some I don't know, because mine actually does have a little string here. A lot of them don't have a string in there. But if you have this type of trimmer, rather than a guillotine or a cutoff trimmer, which this is what I'm talking about when I say a guillotine trimmer, one of these. It would be a little more difficult to use one of these to do this card. So just a reminder of what we're making here, this card. You'll notice my paper is very different and yours may be too. So hope you really like the paper you get, but keep in mind, if you don't, you can always use paper that you have or go find some double-sided paper. It is important that it's double-sided. So the first thing we're going to do in making this card, we're going to cut our 12 by 12 piece of scrapbook paper down to 8.5 by 11. You already know how to do this, how to line it up on your 8.5 right here. That'll be your up and down. And I'm just checking to make sure I like the direction this is going. 8.5. And you'll have this nice piece of leftover paper, and then 11. So that means you're only cutting 1 inch off. So you can go right up here to 11, or you could just measure 1 inch from this side so that you are cutting off 1 inch. And you now have an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of paper, and you have these lovely little trim pieces that we are going to keep handy. The other thing you are going to want to have handy is a bone folder. And you have a choice how you want to do this. You're going to fold your paper in half horizontally and in half diagonally, and you're going to use your bone folder to really, really press those in. If it is your preference, go ahead and use a scoreboard. You can use a small one and just be very careful with it. You can use a large one. I am going to be really brave, and I'm just going to fold this in half. And I'm just going to be careful about how I do it. So here's my tip. Whenever I'm making sure something is folded in half, I press it down onto my surface. And then I work from the middle and press out with my fingers. And then I use my bone folder to reinforce, really press down that fold. Now we want to do it the other way. Do not think you can do this, because you're not going to get as precise a fold if you do that. So unfold, put your ends together, make sure you're lined up. Once again, if you want to make sure you're really, really, really lined up, because you do want a nice, precise fold. Oh, messing up a little bit there. Start in the middle, press out, and then reinforce your fold. Now I'm trying to make sure that you can really see those folds. Can you see? It is so hard to tell which one of these is going to be easier for you to see your folds. I actually think it might be a little bit easier on the red. So what we're going to do on the left-hand side, we're going to cut along this horizontal fold line from the edge only to the center. Now here's how we're going to do it with a cutting instrument. If you have a string trimmer, if that is what this is in fact called. The easiest way to do this is to line your fold up into your little channel. Make sure it's nice and flat. You'll actually feel your channel want to fall into that, feel your fold want to fall into that channel. And you'll notice on your string trimmer, there's a ruler along here. Well, the very center of an 8.5 wide piece of paper is 4 1/4. So that mark right there is where you're going to trim to. That's what these measurements are for. So if you keep your eye on that mark and you move your trimmer slowly till the little arrow lines up at 4 1/4, you are exactly halfway through your paper. Did it work? It absolutely did. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is we want a ruler, because we're going to measure 3.5 inches from our top left corner, 3.5 inches in this way, and 3.5 inches down this way. Now this mat that I have happens to have 1-inch squares on it. 1, 2, 3.5 is going to be to right here, and I'm going to make a mark right there, and I'm going to measure 3.5 from here. 1, 2, 3.5, and I'm going to make my mark there. Now here's where this ruler will come very handy. We're going to move from mark to mark, draw ourselves a line, you can also, if you prefer, leave that ruler nice and hard there and start folding along that line so you get a nice clean fold. If you prefer to use a scoring tool, here's a tip. On my little scoring tool that I carry with me, I've drawn some lines with a pencil down into that groove so that when it comes time for me to line something up like this, I can line up both of my marks and see it on both sides. So that's something you might want to do with yours. In this case, once it's nice and lined up, you run your score tool along here and you're just going to fold. You saw though, using the edge of your ruler, if you're going to make that pencil line, you might as well just use the edge of your ruler and fold up on that. So I'm going to use my bone folder and I'm going to reinforce my fold line right there. So once again, that's number 1, top left quadrant. Fold it down. The next thing we're going to do is fold this over. So do you see how we're starting to make, we've already made our first little pocket right there. Now at this point, you can choose either to use a nice strong double-sided tape. I particularly like the sequin tape. And we're going to put it only right here. Just right here to that cut line. We don't want to tape or glue anywhere else. If you prefer to use glue, glue will work great for this as well. So you don't have to worry about gluing this down, and you certainly don't want to glue across here, because all this is going to do is create our first little pocket. You've done well if you can get something inside of there. All right? Now the next thing we're going to do is, if you can see this line, in fact, let's do this. Let's just fold that back out of our way so that we can see this line. We want to move out about 1/8 of an inch from this line right here. About 1/8 of an inch. And we want to fold our paper up and make it nice and even there along that line. Now, if you prefer measurements, this is, as you can see, about 1/8 of an inch. And from the very top of your card is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and about 3/4 inches. If you need to draw your lines from there to there to do that, but it's very easy to just pick that 1/8 inch line and then make sure you're about 1/8 of an inch away from that line, that center score line. And we have created our second pocket. Now, you'll notice that these two pockets are the same color. So we're going to fold this over and tuck this right along that fold line. We get the red, then the green, and then the red again. Now here's where I was showing you. There is a variation you can do to this card. I didn't press that down really hard because I wanted to show you. If you like it like this, you could come in and put your glue here and here. Never glue here because that creates your pocket. And you can have a regular opening card that then has that inside of it. You could also fold it backwards and have a regular opening card that this is the front of with two pockets, and that's the back. I prefer to just go ahead and fold this over and do your card like this. Now this is how the card that April designed works. So I'm going to reinforce this fold with my bone folder. And that means that I need tape here, here. So I'm going to use glue this time just to show you that either one is fine. You only want glue on your edges. And this will actually hold these papers down for you. If you want to be super frugal, you can cut off these triangles and reuse this paper. But by folding it over, you get a really sturdy card. So if you're using glue, you definitely want to hold it for just a moment. If you use your sequin tape, it's going to be an instant grab. These papers that are left over are great for a little banner across. You could even do this all the way across. Fold it to the back. Use your cream or white cardstock back here and put on top of that. I prefer to have it wrap all the way around. And then I put my warm wishes right here on top. I would recommend that you not use tape runner to glue down the sides of your pockets, only because it tends to not be as strong as your double-sided tape and glue. So if you use a liquid glue or if you use double-sided tape, you're going to be fine. For the back of this, you're also going to have a piece of plain paper. It will be either white or cream, depending on what matches your decorator paper. I'm going to use white with this because I think it is more of a white than a cream. We're going to cut this down to be our area that we're going to write on the back here. 5.5 by 4 1/4 would be exactly the back, but I want to have a little bit of a decorative edge around it. I want you to be able to see this colorful paper on the back. So I'm going to cut this at 5 1/4 by 4 inches. That gives me a nice edge, and I'll go ahead and glue that on. Doesn't have to be an extremely strong bond, but Tombow is pretty strong, and I think it'll hold it in place just fine. And line that up to where I have a nice even border. So I have my space to write on the back. I also need to make cards. If we look at April's, hers are about 2.5 by 4. And then her larger one is 2.5 by 5. We already know that this should be 5 1/4, so we can cut 1/4 of an inch off of it. And 2.5. And we've got our first tag. It's 2.5 by 5. And we're going to cut another 2.5 here. But here are your scrap papers that you have left over. And you can definitely do tags and cards with that. So keep those handy. Use those to your heart's content. And this one we want to be 4 inches. So there are any number of ways to turn rectangular pieces of paper into tags. And one of the absolute easiest, and it's really pretty, is to use a corner rounder. Oh, my corner rounder did not work very well. That usually means you've got some gunk stuck in it. Let's see if I can do a better job on that. No, it is not. It's not doing a good job. I hope I'm not the only person who has trouble with corner rounders sometimes. I'm going to try one more time to make that look better. It still doesn't look great. So you know what I do whenever a corner rounder is being cantankerous with me? I just get my scissors and I make it look the way I want it to look. Round those corners off yourself. There you go. It's not absolutely perfect, but it looks fine. And if you really just don't like it, you can always start over on the other side. There you go. That's much better. We want to center up about here, and it helps me to put a little dot about where I would like my punched hole to be. Now I have a small hole punch like this, and kind of line up where that looks good. Let's corner round our shorter one. I'm going to go ahead and round all 4 corners on this one as well. You don't have to. In fact, you don't have to round your corners at all if you like them rectangular. If you do not have a small hole punch, if you have a crocodile, they have a large hole punch and a small hole punch, and I'm going to use the smaller one. I'm just lining it up about in the middle there. And it's about the same size hole punch, I think. Yeah, they look like they're about the same size. If you only have a larger hole punch, use a larger hole punch. It's going to look just fine. So as you can see, actually the taller one goes in the back here, and the shorter one goes in the front. In your kit, there's going to be one piece of ribbon, and you'll just cut it in half, and then you'll have 2 ribbons, or baker's twine, not ribbon. Just fold it in half, push it through the little hole in the middle, and then bring your little feet through that hole, and your baker's twine is on. Now, before you put your baker's twine on, if you would like to sponge around the edge with some soft brown or gray or something to make that look pretty, you can. I noticed April also did it on this before she glued this on, the Warm Winter Wishes, so you can sponge that as well if you like. I'm leaving mine just nice and bright. Everyone has 5 of these darling, super brilliant little sequins. You can use mini glue dots. You can use a dot of glue. I'm going to just put these in random locations. Little dot of glue. And then set the sequin right on top of it. If you have trouble holding on to these sequins like I am right now, don't forget you can use your Marvy Ukinda jewel picker. But if you can't find that because your desk is extremely messy like mine is, you can always just scooch them right onto your glue dot. That's what I'm doing today because I can't find my jewel picker. So I will need to put my baker's twine into my second card. And if you like, you can stamp a sentiment on this card. You can write on this card. And this one is perfectly sized for a gift card. It is really and truly the perfect size for a gift card. And once you tuck it into the little envelope area, it just barely peeks out. Or you could write on this one, and you could put your gift card on this one, and then it is more hidden by the first one, so it's more of a surprise. Here's April's card, and here are 2 other variations. This one she made into an opening card. Remember how I showed you could fold it backwards, and this could be the front of your card, and then you could open it so that you don't put your sentiment there. Now here's the variation though. You have your back paper, your front paper, your front. So they're together. Now on this particular pattern, it looks great that way. So if you'd like to make your card that way, remember just to fold it backwards instead of forwards. Those instructions are also on your template. And then she has this one. This is not an open card, and you can tell it's not because here's your front pattern, your back pattern, your front pattern. And really cute tags here. So she put just very fancy edges on these tags. Look how she has the grommet on there and 2 different kinds of ribbon. So cute. And the little pumpkins all along the edge here. Really, really dressed up this card. So you can make this card as fancy as you want. You can make it an opening card like this one, or you can make it where it's more of a tag card and it doesn't open like this one. Then you would put your message here, which both of these are like that. And I hope you guys will get some paper and try your hand at them. Hope you guys have a great time making this card, and we'll see you next month. Thanks for joining me today.